All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the River Channel broadcast of the Hudson Raiders boys soccer team from Hudson High School. This game was played on September 18th. It is the game featuring the Hudson Raiders as the home team in blue on your screen, playing from left to right, against the visiting River Falls Wildcats in white, playing from right to left on your screen. This game was recorded and televised earlier, and I am adding some commentary here for your viewing pleasure. Raiders' season has been a solid one and undefeated as of this point, even a week after this game. Raiders have continued a hot streak of wins. And the Wildcats having sort of a struggling season from what I have seen and understand. But River Falls is always a challenge, and this is a rivalry match between neighboring communities, so all bets are off in a game like this. Ball keeps moving around. Raiders going to bring it all the way back to their defense, and I am going to just say that on the screen that I am watching this on, it can be a little challenging to always see the numbers of players and things like that. So be patient with me, and I will try to get you the best information possible from what I see. Raiders take a big shot there from distance. They send the ball long and high. That'll be a goal kick for the Wildcats. Goal kick coming up here, and Raiders will be all over that. Big kick, really long kick right across midfield, and the Raiders able to put that ball right back into the offensive side of the field. Wildcats are going to send that ball back to the goalkeeper, and Wildcats will end up with a punt here. Again, big punt. Raiders able to win that the punt in the air. The deflection goes to River Falls, though, and they are trying to move that ball around at midfield, trying to get it into their offensive half, and are successful, largely for the first time this match. Raiders send it way up the sideline. Again, Wildcats defense going to try to play that out and send it up. Along with the challenge of kind of seeing the numbers and the full screen, I don't get to see the whole field like I normally do if I'm live at the stadium, but I also don't have a River Falls lineup, so apologies to anyone from River Falls listening in to this, but I don't have your roster, so I can't acknowledge your players, but I'll do my best to acknowledge good play and their numbers. Throw in here for River Falls. Raiders on the attack, and there's a goal for your Raiders. That looks like number 24, Paul Rabeus. He's having an outstanding season, and he gets through with that and scores the first goal tonight at about the 3-minute and 9-second mark, and the Raiders take a 1-0 lead.
Scoring for Hudson, number 24, Paul Rabeus. Assist on the goal, number 11, Will Cook.
All right, so we can hear the announcement off the video recording, and that was Paul Rabeus with the score, and Will Cook, the sophomore high-level player for the Raiders, with the assist on that goal. Big throw in here, and off the Raiders will be a throw in for the Wildcats. Jack Poole trying to send that ball through to Rabeus again, and that ball gets cleared by the Wildcats, and they're going to let that ball go all the way out and give the Raiders a throw in deep in their offensive territory. Looks like, again, hard to see the whole field here, but I'm guessing there's an offsides penalty on the Raiders there, or some sort of a foul called by the side judge, and River Falls will end up with a free kick here out of their goal box, so much like a goal kick. Goalkeeper for the Wildcats has a pretty strong leg, gets it out to about midfield. Wildcats back on the attack. Ball goes out wide, and they're able to possess it, maintain possession, and slowly working the ball up the sideline. They're going to go for a big cross, kind of behind the striker who was there, but they're still able to maintain possession. That ball goes off of Diego Vega of the Raiders, and that'll be another throw-in for the Wildcats. Again, the Raiders off to a solid start. Prior to this game, Raiders' record is 7 wins, 0 losses, and 1 tie. Basically, every game has been a shutout other than one against De Pere, which the Raiders won 4-2. So the Raiders' defense has been extremely strong against a lot of solid competition, and the offense, of course, obviously scoring a lot of goals this season too. Paul Rabeas, who scored that first goal, off to a great start this season, his first with the Raiders, and that was, I believe, his 6th goal of the season. So a really great year for Pau on the Raiders team. Again, Raiders playing around with it in their offensive end, trying to make something happen here. And they elect to bring it all the way back to their defense. That's number 15, Joe Heckman, back on defense. And there's Vega setting up, sends a big cross across, and that's taken by River Falls. But the Raiders back on the attack again. Jack Poole, captain of the Raiders, one of the 2 captains that is, and he's all over it, bringing it to the corner. Jack's got what I call sticky feet. He knows how to keep that ball close. Nice pass out, and a easy score for the Raiders there. That's a textbook play. Jack Poole bringing it to the end line, passing it back, and luckily Raiders were in position to shoot that ball. Often offensive players overrun that play and try to stay on the same line as the ball rather than waiting for the pass back, but the Raiders were all over that. Nothing a goalkeeper can do. You hope your defense is marking up players, but it's easy.
Starting for Hudson, number 18. Number 11, Will Cook. That's number 10, Jack Poole.
So Will Cook on that score off the assist by Jack Poole. And the Raiders take a 2-0 lead at about the 6-minute and 50-second mark there. So, again, Will Cook with good patience, not overrunning, waiting for the potential pass. That's really what you hope for in those situations, is that somebody is kind of waiting up top at the top of the goal line or the goal box line, or in that general area to move in and strike that ball. And Will Cook with a pretty basically wide open net, because the goalkeeper had to be somewhat on the near post based on what Jack Poole was doing with the ball on the goal line. Really had the whole goal in front of him. Defensively, River Falls would like someone to be marking all those players, but as I was saying before, it's easy to get kind of mesmerized by where the ball is and lose track of where all the other players are. So Will Cook with the score. That is Will's 6th goal of the season. He's having a great season, 6 goals, 6 assists or so. My numbers might be off a bit, but Will, as a sophomore, having just a solid season for the Raiders this year. And Jack Poole with the assist. Can't leave Jack out either. He's having a magnificent season, about 5 goals and 6 assists himself on the season. That may be including some games after this game based on my stats sheet, but just a really stellar season from the Raider captain as well. All right, River Falls has some work to do. Nice head out by the Wildcat defense, doubleheader to get it out of the box. Raiders are still there to pick it up. That's Captain Quinn Packard there trying to send that ball in. Quinn plays defense but gets up to help with the offense in those situations. And Wildcats doing all they can to stop this Raider attack right now. It's a nice cross. Good defense by the Wildcats to end that threat, but a nice ball in by Sam Olsen. And Raiders looking good offensively in these first 10 minutes of the match. Vega on the ball, brings it back to Quinn Packard, who kind of awkwardly chips that ball in, but causes probably a little consternation for the River Falls goalkeeper because it was kind of right on the edge of maybe being on goal or just being a bit outside. It did go outside, and that is why we're looking at a goal kick for the Wildcats here. My recollection is this game had a rain delay. Started about an hour later than anyone would have liked, especially on a school night. But the rain and lightning cleared, and got this game in. So that's number 15, Joe Heckman, bringing it back to Parker Strumke. Fantastic goalkeeper for the Raiders. He's also had an outstanding season so far. And Raiders back on the attack. That's number 2, Cohen Miller, scrapping it out on defense and trying to push that ball up the field. Jack Poole gets his feet kind of kicked out from under him, and penalty called. Raiders will have a free kick here near midfield. Ball goes over to Cook. Out to Miller. Gets intercepted by the Wildcats, who might have something going here, but wow, great play by, I believe that's Quinn Packard on defense. Quinn has just had a solid season on the defensive end for the Raiders, and the series of shutouts this team has had is a true testament to Quinn's leadership on the defensive end and his skill as a player, because that defensive line has held strong. I'm looking at all the games matches up until this point. First game 0 goals, second game 0 goals, fourth game 0, fifth 0, sixth 0, seventh 0, and the eighth game 0 goals against the Raiders. Only one, as I mentioned before, with DePere, were the opponents able to put something in the net against the Raiders, and that was in a losing effort. So that doesn't just happen. The offense for the Raiders, the midfield, the defense, they play defense everywhere on the field because they want to keep that ball in their offensive end, and they have been highly successful with that so far. All right, Raiders throwing. Back to the action. We're at about the 12-minute mark. Little over. Raiders lead 2-0. Number 18, Calvin Lassard with the ball there, but too much defense. And the Wildcats able to take that ball away from him. Will Cook again in the center of the action with the ball. He's got a lot of great foot moves there, you can see. Able to use his body as a distraction while... quick shot there by the Raiders. And looks like a nice save by Wildcats goalkeeper. We'll give that ball a punt. This Raider team has really continued to gel throughout the season. Soccer is somewhat of a unique... It's a nice play by the... Initially, a good defensive play there by the Wildcats, a risky gamble to slide tackle, but ball eventually gets by, and that looked to me like Adrian Morales with the goal, but we'll wait for the call here from the announcer who gets the feed from the team manager on the sideline to know exactly how this played out in the scorecard.
Hudson Raiders goal, scored by number 23, Adrian Morales. Assist on the goal to number 24, Pau Rubeles.
All right, so we have Adrian Morales with the goal, and Pau Rubeles matching his earlier goal with an assist, and the Raiders go up 3-0 at about the 13-minute and 20-second mark. Back on the attack are the Raiders again, sending that ball across. Quinn Packard picks it up on the far side, sends it back in. And again, the Raiders doing everything they can to keep it in that scoring area, which is kind of the extended box right in front of the goal. That's the sweet spot. If you can keep putting the ball in there, eventually you're likely to score. So anything further out or wider becomes more challenging to score. It's possible, but if you can get it into that kind of that sweet spot in front of the goal, within about 10 yards in front, you're going to highly increase your chances to put points on the board. It's like a foul called on the Raiders, and the Wildcats will have a free kick. So that is Pau Rubeles' fourth or fifth assist based on the statistics I have here. This includes a game or two after this match, since this is a recorded match. And let's see, Adrian Morales has 4 goals on the season, so he's able to put another score into his book, and they all add up for the Raiders. They have a lot of people that can score. I'm looking at my stat sheet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 players with goals in some number this season so far. That's pretty substantial, and that bodes well for them as they get through the Big Rivers Conference season and play a few non-conference games at the end of the season against some high-level opponents like Stillwater, Minnesota coming up. And then getting ready for regions and sections. So the more guys you have that are used to playing under the lights, used to putting the goal in the net, the stronger you're going to be in those competitive matches ahead. All right, Raiders get it deep, but the goalkeeper for River Falls picks it up and takes a boot. We're about 16 minutes into the match. Raiders lead 3-0. For those of you maybe tuning in that aren't familiar with the Hudson River Falls area, both are border communities on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin. River Falls is south of Hudson, but the neighbor. So really the closest other high school to Hudson, Wisconsin is River Falls. So definitely a rivalry based on location, but also because a lot of these guys have played against each other for years. Some of them are actually probably were teammates on certain teams, the way traveling soccer works, that players sort of play all over the place. So in other words, this high school team for Hudson does not necessarily play all together in the summer. They all kind of go different directions to play for different traveling organizations and clubs. And then they come together for what's usually considered by most players the most important season, the school ball season. So anyway, here we go. Back to the action. River Falls puts that ball out of bounds. Quinn Packard, captain of the Raiders, ready to take that throw in. Looks like he's pausing, so there must be some sort of substitution happening. Again, we are recording this audio over the game that was played about a week ago. And so I don't get to see everything going on the screen. I'm not seeing who's coming in or what's going on. We may hear the announcement, but Raiders with the throw. Get it into the middle, but New River Falls couple of attempts to clear get blocked by Diego Vega, but just out of Diego's reach to do anything with it. Eventually, the goalkeeper for River Falls is able to pick that ball up. Sends a big punt up the field. New Richmond tries to get on it, but too many big bounces, and the Raiders are able to get that ball and move it around. Raiders sending a ball out wide, able to save it. That's Vega. He's a real hustler. Raiders trying to thread that ball up the middle, but that is challenging in any situation with the defense that River Falls has back there. And River Falls gets the clear. All right, River Falls showing some foot skills there. Too many Raiders around, though. They're blocking all the passing angles, which is textbook defense. He has nowhere to go other than trying to dribble around, and eventually that usually ends with a takeaway by the defense. But River Falls back on it. Take that ball back, and they're going to try to work it down the field again. They're in Raiders territory. This is probably the longest stretch of time for the Wildcats to have the ball in Raiders territory. Nice little flip turn there, but too much on it, and it's going to be a Raiders throw-in. All right, big clear by the Raiders. Deflected, though. River Falls starting to see a little bit of success in keeping the ball in Raiders territory. Raiders back on the attack, but then swiped there by number 24 of River Falls. Raiders back on it down the sideline, though. Trying to get that ball up to Adrian Morales, but goes out of bounds off New River Falls, and the Raiders will have a quick throw. Brings it back to Packard. Settles it, tries to send across, hits his player in the back, takes a weird deflection, pulls on it, gets it back to Quinn Packard, who takes a left-footed cross and sets it up outside the box. Big side-winding kick by Vega from distance, gets on goal. Nice save by River Falls goalkeeper, who then gets a follow-up rebound shot. I believe that was Calvin Lassard, and makes another save. So Wildcats at the middle of the field again. Little misplay there. Goes through the legs. Raiders able to pick it up defensively. Now about a minute past the halfway point of the first half. Raiders continue to lead 3-0. Raiders pushing it. Packard hustling back. Plays it back to, looks like number 6, Teddy Anderson in the match. Nice ball movement by the Raiders. It's about 4 or 5 consecutive passes, which is what you're looking for. Cook is on it. Gets a little bit delayed there. Maybe a little grab, but a little bump. Anyway, River Falls takes it. Ref is right there. And the Raiders will have a throw-in, but looks like we'll have some substitutions coming in. So there'll be a brief pause here, and Raiders continue to lead 3-0. This broadcast is brought to you by the River Channel, and we broadcast live on both YouTube and on Facebook. So if you like to tune into Raiders sports, River Channel broadcasts a lot of them: football, soccer, boys and girls, basketball, I believe, hockey. So there's a lot of great high school athletics shared by the River Channel. And we invite you to tune in for any of those matches that you see that are interesting. for the most part, we broadcast almost all home games and some away games depending on where they're at for most sports. So always fun to watch these guys play and the gals when it's their turn, and fun to have that kind of support for families that can't get to all the matches, and for relatives and friends who and alumni who live across the country. Raiders are set up well there. Big blast by Poole. Or was that Lassard? I can't see. That was Lassard. Big blast just on the outside of the right post. So Calvin was getting close. He's ringing the bell, but doesn't able to get it in the back of the net. So at about the 23.5-minute mark, we have another goal kick by River Falls. So you see it right there, the amount of pressure that it's one thing, it can be challenging to coach younger players to play defense all over the field. And but it's what you really want from these players. There's Poole. No, that's Lassard. Sorry. 3 or 4 of the Raider players, unless you see the numbers, they look very, very similar. Will Cook, Calvin Lassard, Jack Poole, they all have sort of frosted white hair. And so it's challenging to always know who is who till I can see their numbers at least. A little bit of a misplay by Giovanni Morales there. River Falls able to pick it up. They've got an opportunity there. There's a tangling of players. I don't think, definitely not worthy of a foul called either way there. 2 guys going after the ball. Their feet got tangled and they both went down. So River Falls, they will end up with the throw-in. And here we go. Little heel kick out by River Falls to try to get it out to their player up top. Raiders pressure. River Falls back on it though. Sending the ball outside. A little too much on that, and it'll be a Raiders throw in here. Some subs coming in, so we will pause the action a bit. The River Channel also broadcasts a lot of city and community events here in Hudson as well. So always fun to check out the lineup of what's gone on River Channel. And we certainly appreciate everybody tuning in to our broadcasts here for soccer and for anything else that River Channel decides to present. Raiders get that ball outside to Vega. He's going to save it. Cuts back. So it's a nice little smooth, nice flat ball across to Poole, who gets a rifle and a left-footed blast off. But had to rush that shot a little bit because of the defense. And when you rush, you generally put that ball high, and that it hit the crossbar. So Poole was very close, and and with a left foot, that was a heck of a shot. But no goal. So we'll have another goal kick here by the River Falls Wildcats goalkeeper. Big boot. Kid's got a great leg. I'm guessing he's maybe got another year or so left, and he's played a very nice game despite the score. He's made some nice saves. He's made some good plays on the ball to avoid scores or shots. So he's definitely trying to keep this game reasonable, despite a lot of pressure from the Raiders. We already have 7 shots on goal. Big throw in here for River Falls. Headed by the Raiders to keep it back into the offensive territory. Blast from distance by the Raiders. Nice save. Follow up. And there's a goal. A great initial save by the River Falls goalkeeper. He's frustrated, but he made a nice save. Not able to, trap that ball or catch it cleanly, to just take it, into possession, and ends up deflecting it not far, but before he could pounce, Calvin Lassard, who understands how that plays,
Number 18, Calvin Lassard,
was in there to score that goal.
Assist on the goal by number 5, Henry Newman.
All right, Raiders giving the assist to Henry Newman, number 5, and that goal goes to, like we said, Calvin Lassard. And Calvin again having an outstanding junior season here for the Raiders. Beyond maybe one game beyond this, Calvin has 10 goals on the season and 7 assists. So Calvin doing a lot of offensive work for the Raiders. So we've heard from the big 3 of the Raiders. Actually, we could even say now it's a big 4 with Will Cook, Jack Poole, Pau Rabeus, and Calvin Lassard, all contributing to the scoring along with other guys. Those are the scoring leaders, though, and they're all contributing tonight. But notice the disbursement. Lots of guys involved here, which is got to make Coach Solom happy on the sideline. Packers sends the ball across. We're at about the 29-minute mark. River Falls will like to maybe get out of this half where they're at, see if they can make a few corrections. I'm not sure the wind situation at this match. No way I can see that on the screen that I have. But being that it was rainy and stormy, I'm guessing there's some kind of a wind. I'm just not sure who's got the advantage. But that can all play out to make some things happen for a team when they're down. I'd like to give credit to my colleague, Nikos Wired, who does all the video work for nearly all the broadcasts we have for soccer, among other things. And Nikos, he lugs all the equipment up to the press booth. He sets everything up. Sometimes he has some support from Nate Skoog, but then Nikos handles the internet connections, the camera work, the sound, all those pieces of the puzzle to bring these matches to you. So hats off to Nikos. This is a nice broadcast, and I'm Jeff. I just show up and talk, so I have the easy part of this whole thing. All right, Raiders playing around, trying to take that ball back, and they successfully do from the Wildcats. Now they're pushing up into the offensive end again. Wildcats playing a little stronger defense, I'm seeing. They're cutting off the angles a little bit more. They've maybe seen what the Raiders do and how they do it, and they've made some adjustments on the field. There'll be a couple substitutes here as we wait for Sullivan Kelly to take the throw-in. All right, the ball's back to Joe Heckman. Hard to see some of the players on the far side of the field. They can't see their numbers. Raiders trying to push that ball up the sideline. It just gets beyond everybody and only able to be handled by the River Falls goalkeeper. This is my 4th season of announcing boys soccer. And previous to that, I had a son who played for the Raiders, and that was the year, I believe it was maybe the first year the Raiders ever went to state. But this may be the first season out of those 5 that I can think of that they were undefeated this deep into the season. 5 years ago when my son was a player, they may have been undefeated then. They very well may have. That was one of the COVID years. And so they very well may have. I just can't remember. I know the last few years, though, they've, against some of the more challenging teams, been, handed a loss earlier in the season. This team has held off from that. They do have one tie, and that was the first game of the season against Eastridge High School, which is kind of in that Woodbury Cottage Grove area. Very first match of the season. I think they maybe had 4 or 5 practices before that game, and ended up 0-0. Eastridge, though, a quality opponent. The Raiders play in the large school region and sections, so our conference out here on the far west side of the state is a little... They thread that ball through. Raiders have it. Little pullback. Is somebody going to be there? Cook sends a blast in. And it looks like Will Cook will have his second goal of the half here at the 33-minute and 23-second mark, but we'll wait for the call by the announcer.
Scoring for Hudson, number 11, Will Cook. Assist on the goal goes to number 3, Diego Vega.
All right, so Will Cook on the score is second of the night, and Diego Vega with the assist. So Raiders take a commanding 5-0 lead. River Falls has a trip foul called, and the Raiders will have a free kick here in a dangerous spot. Raiders, this is a ball they're going to easily put into the scoring area should they choose to. Sometimes they decide to play short and work it up. This ball goes across to, referee's pulling it back. Not sure what the decision was. Ball maybe was moving just slightly. In soccer, on penalty kicks like this, free kicks, the ball has to be stopped before it can be kicked. You don't lose possession if you kick it while it's moving, but you have to bring it back. Sometimes kids rush it because they think they've got something brewing to get that ball off quickly, and then they get called back. Not just kids, adults do it too in high-level soccer too. All right, we're down to pushing into the 5 minutes left in the half. Hudson Raiders in blue continue to lead the River Falls Wildcats, now with a lead of 5-0. All right, that's number 4, Sullivan Kelly, pushing it up the sideline. Coach Solom's made a bunch of substitutions. Quinn Packard, though, captain, still on the field. Really nice little foot move there. Brings it back, pops it out. River Falls kind of sniffed that one out after the couple goals scored off that. Stayed focused on the player. Not sure what was going on with the River Falls goalkeeper there, but the Raiders sneak a literally slow ball through that hits the post. Couldn't tell. I think maybe the goalkeeper was tying his shoe, thinking the ball was cleared, and the Raiders swiped it back and tried to put something on. Not a strong shot, but anyway, crisis averted for the Wildcats, and Raiders with a throw-in at about the 36-minute mark, roughly. Raiders playing it all the way back to their defense. Nice header by the Wildcats and a big clear. Raiders defense all over it. Some pressure by the Wildcats. They're going to play it back to Strumke, who then plays it out wide. Good series of passing by the Raiders to get that ball under control. Foul called there on the Wildcats, I believe. I didn't see exactly what happened. It kind of looked like if both players were on the ball, but it was very well something I may have missed on that versus what the referee who's right there has to say and what he saw. Okay, free kick for the Raiders from the 40-yard line of the football field, which is 50 yards from the goal. That's a distance, though, that Will Cook looks like he's lining up to take this, that he's going to probably be able to put this ball into that scoring area we talked about earlier. Kind of a low ball in, headed out by River Falls. A little challenge there in the corner with number 20, Eric Palm of the Raiders. Ball comes across, nobody home for the Raiders. Going to slip across the goal line and looks like that's going to be a corner kick for the Raiders. Not a lot of corner kicks tonight. Will Cook heading over to the corner to line up to take that ball. Sends it in. It's a nice ball. Curls outward, which sometimes can be a little bit more challenging for players to do something with. You got to time it a little differently, but a good ball. Again, Raiders trying to dribble through an awful lot of defenders there, and eventually River Falls takes that ball. Sometimes there's nothing else you can do than try to dribble around either, so it's not always you just do what you got to do sometimes. Raiders get the shot, blocked by River Falls. We're now down to about 1 minute and 40 seconds in the half remaining, and the trip from the Raiders. Little warning coming. I believe that was Kieran Britz. Trips from behind can be viewed very seriously by referees. Kind of depends on what happened. No card there, but it can be a cardable offense depending on how you approach that. So, as a player. So, free kick here for the Wildcats with about 1 minute and 10 seconds left. They send it deep up, kind of a low trajectory ball. Raiders defense is going to get on it, and they send it out for a Wildcats throw-in.
1 minute remaining in the half. 1 minute.
Normally at halftime, there's a brief pause for about 10 minutes since this is a live broadcast and or recorded and everything. It'll just be seamless for you. But if you need a break at halftime, just pause your YouTube broadcast or wherever you're watching it and do what you got to do and then come back. So this is about 30 seconds left in the first half. Raiders leading 5-0 over the visiting River Falls Wildcats.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, that's halftime, folks. We'll be back in just a few moments with the second half. Okay, here we go. We are back for the second half of this Big Rivers Conference matchup. The hometown Raiders of Hudson High School in blue, now playing from right to left on your screen. Starting the second half against their southern border rivals, the River Falls High School Wildcats in white, playing from left to right on your screen. This match has been all Raiders in the scoring department. 11 shots on goal for the Raiders compared to 1 for the Wildcats, and 5 goals for the Raiders. 2 by Will Cook, 1 by Paul Rebeus, 1 by Calvin Lassard, and 1 by... I'm going to have to do a check on that, but I believe it might be... Quick ball in. Raiders hit it off the post, and they keep their pressure up immediately into the second half. Looks like a deflection by River Falls, too, so that'll be a Raiders goal kick, or Raiders corner kick, sorry. Adrian Morales, that's who I was missing. He had a Raiders goal as well. So, kick here by Cook. Lots of bodies up in the air for that. Gets by all of them. Raiders try to keep it alive. Send another little chip shot in, but that ball is handled by River Falls goalkeeper. Not able to grab it purely, but able to keep it close enough to fall on it and avert any scoring attempts by the Raiders. So in Big River's conference play, matches can end early if the score gets to be 8-0, and you have to hit the 60-minute mark of the game. So when halfway through the second half hits, if a team is up 8-0, that game ends because it's just so very, 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 very unlikely that you're going to make up that difference, and there's no reason to potentially risk injury and things like that. So we're far from that. We're still 3 goals away. River Falls is going to be working very hard to try to score and play some defense to avert that. So we'll see what happens. Referee making some sort of a call, going over to consult with the side judge. Did not indicate a stoppage of time. I think he calls off sides, maybe a foul. I couldn't see what was going on there. And the Raiders are going to have, or River Falls will have, looks like they get a live ball to punt. So I'm not exactly sure what that stoppage was for. Regardless, here we go. Raiders back on it. River Falls, some nice movement up into the offensive end, but the Raiders' defense, strong as ever, gets that ball right back out and up to their offensive team. Again, nice little drive to the baseline or the end line. Brings that ball out, but the Raiders not able to score on it. Again, another ball into that scoring area. You see that what the Raiders are doing is they're just getting the ball down and depositing it into that general scoring area to see what can happen. Deflections, rebounds, shots off posts, all that happen when you get the ball into the scoring area. So it's not always that you're looking for a fantastic shot. You're just looking to get that ball into the general area. All right, nice play by River Falls goalkeeper. He's going to give that ball a punt. We're about 4 minutes into the second half. Inadvertent handball there by River Falls, and that is going to give the Raiders a free kick. Looks like Cook and Packard there on the ball. Sometimes they play a little misdirection. Sometimes they play a short game. Yep, they're playing a short game there. River Falls kind of sniffed that out. Packard sneaks through, and from distance, 35 yards, able to sneak it past the River Falls goalkeeper. Sometimes there's so many people in your way, and that ball just gets deflected even slightly, and it can be really challenging to pick the ball up and make saves in those situations. But that's Quinn Packard's goal for the night, first score of the night for him. But we'll wait for the official call here from the stadium announcer on the broadcast. Waiting more to hear who the...
Number 9, Quinn Packard.
There it is.
Assist on the goal to number 11 is Will Cook.
There we go. Will Cook with another assist on the night as well. So Packard with the goal, assist to Will Cook, and Quinn Packard, that's his third goal of the season, I believe. So even though he plays a lot of defense, he's up contributing on the offensive end. And that's sort of a good example of why, even from distance, sometimes you take those shots. As largely they don't sneak in like that, but you just don't know what's going to happen. So the key is first to just get it into that general area. I say that a lot, but it's true. And statistically, that's, at all levels where the scoring happens. So anyway, great play, Quinn Packard. Nice assist, Will Cook. We dig back into the scoring. I'm going to take a quick peek here. And so Will Cook with assist on the first goal, a score on the second goal, and now an assist on, or a goal on the fifth, scored the fifth goal. So 2 goals and assist, and then this would be his second assist of the night. So 2 goals, 2 assists for Will Cook. Just a strong showing from Will tonight. And keep in mind, viewers, Will is a sophomore, so the Raiders are going to have 2 more years of him developing and improving his game and helping his teammates improve. It'll be a fun couple of years to see what's going on. And along with that, Calvin Lassard being a junior means we get another year of both of these guys back in the Raiders blue. All right, ball gets all the way up. River Falls goalkeeper manages to handle that ball well and gives it a punt. Raiders up 6-0 at about the 47-minute mark of this match. This game is sort of an anomaly. The last few years, the River Falls Raiders games have been tightly contested matches. So maybe a little rebuilding for the Wildcats this year. But they are always competitive. You will not see this team give up. And despite being down 6-0, you still see them going for every ball, trying to make things happen. So not much more you can ask out of them in this situation. Raiders back on the attack. I'm sure with the late start, Coach Solom of the Raiders might not mind this game being over a little bit early, but Raiders need at least 2 more goals. That's assuming they hold the shutout. River Falls is going to do everything they can to put that ball in the net, I guarantee it. And you never know what can happen. You can have a dominant performance like the Raiders are, but a PK or lots of things can happen. So looks like Raiders have changed their goalkeeper. I know Parker Strumke, as the goalkeeper, is an excellent field player, so he may be looking to get out on the field tonight. Raiders go for a quick through ball there. It's a really nice play, but that ball the player was offsides, and it was pretty clear. So be a free kick here for the Wildcats. We're gonna have some subs coming in. Not sure if the stadium announcer is announcing subs or not. We'll try to keep our eyes out to see if we see Parker Strumke on the field. Always fun for goalkeepers to get a chance to get on the field and run around a little bit too. The number of shutouts the Raiders have had are certainly a reflection of Strumke's goalkeeping, but in some cases he doesn't get a lot of action back there. So. Plus, you also want a backup goalkeeper to see a little action, just in case something happens to Parker. High school kids are notorious for getting sick or for getting injuries, and so it's always good for a backup to get a little action and feel a little bit comfortable. Not sure who that is. I'll see if I can see the number when we get back down there, but I kind of want to say it's Power Baez. I thought I saw 24, but I'm not sure if that's him for sure or not. All right, Raiders with the throw. Send it back. Cross it in. And inadvertent handball on Will Cook. Even players with great foot skills, that ball spins weird and hits you in the hand unexpectedly, or you just never know. So it happens. Ball comes up. Raiders trying to get it out of their defensive end, but River Falls working hard to try to make something happen offensively. Good little passing sequence from them. Good cutback there by number 12. Throw in here for River Falls coming up on the deflection by the Raiders. It's like number 17, Lincoln Solano, in for the Raiders. Some subs coming in. Looks like Diego Vega coming back in at about the 51-minute mark. It's like Henry Newman in the game for the Raiders. Brian Wright, trying to see the numbers. So Coach Solom getting some players who don't play a lot of minutes, getting them in here with some considerable time so they can have a little action. There's number 1, Parker Strumke, in the center of the field, white shoes. Not used to seeing him in a regular uniform, but he's up there playing striker. And the ball is going to be taken by the Raiders and sent up again. That's Strumke on the run, trying to save it. He does. He gets a nice cross, just a little late, so that'll end up being a goal kick for River Falls. But a nice run there by Strumke. Also shows you his athleticness, able to sprint down that line and get a foot on that ball, and almost made a beautiful, beautiful cross there on a dead sprint, which is not necessarily easy. All right, 52-minute mark. About 28 minutes left in this match. Raiders of Hudson 6, Wildcats of River Falls 0 for our score. Raiders bring it all the way back to the goalkeeper. Looks like we have Calvin Lassard playing some defense now. Also a good thing to have players kind of mix up these positions when you move into regions and potentially state and sections. You play a lot of high-quality teams, and again, with injuries and things that can happen, you never know where you need players to play. Good soccer players should be able to play every position on the field. So good to see Lassard back there helping out on defense and getting some action there as well. Lassard on it. Gets it under control, gives it over to Poole, who's also playing defense. So these guys move from their striker positions to defense. And again, Raiders trying to work it through. As number 14, Kieran Britt's trying to feed that ball up to Parker Strumke. Raiders would love to see Parker get a goal, but it's not always as easy as it seems. Quick shoe tie for River Falls goalkeeper here, and they'll take their goal kick here in just a moment. Going to do a quick short pass, and they'll try to work that ball up from a little bit further up the field. Lassard on it, sends it back to our goalkeeper. Plays it short, comes back to the Raiders goalkeeper. Trying to see the number. Not able to see the number, and that may not help anyway, because that may just be a generic goalkeeper shirt. May not match my roster sheets I have here. All right. Moving into the 55th minute of the match. Despite the score, River Falls putting up a noble battle, and the Raiders just too much offensive firepower so far in this match. 13 shots to 1. That's a lot of offensive work by the Raiders, but also a lot of defensive work all over the field. Following this match, you may have seen it here on the River Channel, but the Raiders took on the New Richmond Tigers with the win, and followed up with a game at Rice Lake, and then one against DeForest High School and Oregon High School. They'll close out games the week of September 30th with close out the Big Rivers Conference, at least, with a game against Eau Claire North on October 2nd. And then on October 4th, Saturday, a day game against the Stillwater Ponies. Raiders got it. It's in Strumke's hands in the goal area. He's had his back to the goal, so it'd be really tough to turn and shoot with defense around him. He plays it back. Raiders get a chance, but the ball goes off awkwardly, and River Falls will take the goal kick. So the Raiders are going to finish their season with some strong competition. Eau Claire North is more competitive this year than usual. Stillwater is always a very strong Minnesota team. And then they have a couple of away games. I don't have those in front of me. I think those were added later. But a couple of games out on the east side of the state of Wisconsin against some high-powered teams there, which will be a great way for this team to close their season. That ball sneaks through. And that was Xavier Island, almost with a chance to make something happen, but just a little too far out in front of them. So the Raiders are going to end their season against some stiff competition, which will be really great to prepare them for the Big Rivers Conference tournament, and then regions and sections. And this team certainly has expectations to be very, very competitive at both regions and sections, and we'll see what happens. All right, here comes a cross in, a free kick from Calvin Lassard. Sends a beautiful ball. It's right where you want it. And the Raiders are there with a nice header. Can't really see the number, but a good attempt for the Raiders. And but that ball gets directed away from the goal, and it'll be a goal kick here for River Falls. Probably have some substitutions coming, so there's a brief pause here as we wait for the kick. All right, big ball up. Head over by the Wildcats, gets it into Raiders territory. And the ball goes out of bounds. And that'll be a Raiders throw-in near the River Falls bench. Again, we've seen these players collide, help each other up. I love seeing a good competitive but respectful rivalry game. Sometimes games like this, people can get edgy. And this has been, just a, very, very cordial match between these teams. So definitely competitive. Had some fouls, some collisions, all the usual stuff. But that's how the game is played. And both teams, reflecting well here tonight. Throwing for the Raiders deep in their offensive territory. Pass in, comes back out, sets up the cross, gets it in. Looks like that was number 8, Brian Wright with the header. But he kind of popped it up, and it goes over the goal, resulting in another goal kick by River Falls. Vega shields that ball, gets out of bounds. It'll be a Raiders throw-in. Vega takes the throw, tries to get it up to the Raiders. Big kind of awkward landing for Xavier Island. Referee feels like maybe the River Falls defender kind of undercut him, and that'll be a free kick for the Raiders. River Falls moving in on it. Referee is going to walk it off. Main thing that'll do is just take some more time off the clock, I think. It's not going to change much. Lassard's he's sneaking that ball in low. I kind of like that play because River Falls really packed it in to the center part of the area there, leaving an opportunity, a little window there for the Raiders to make something happen. But feet got tangled. I actually thought there was going to be an inadvertent handball there called on River Falls, but the referee calls a trip, and he's closer to the action than I am, so I'll respect his call, and it'll be a free kick for River Falls. Goalkeeper plopping it down. Gives it a boot. Big kick. He's got a heck of a leg. And the ball gets up into the offensive end for River Falls, headed out by the Raiders. So a Wildcats throw in here. We're into the 60 minutes now. If by chance the Raiders put 2 more scores on, this game could end early. Sometimes the referees look for the coaches to agree, and because sometimes they want to play the games out. Sometimes they want more minutes for some players. Ideally, I believe it is the referee's decision, but that may not even happen. But for future matches, I like to share that with our listeners so they understand sometimes why do these games end early. Anyway, here we go, and more substitutions coming in here at the 61-minute mark. Raiders leading the Wildcats 6-0. There's an inadvertent handball on number 8, Brian Wright. And Wildcats will have a free kick at about the 36 yard line of the football field. When it comes to the postseason, after the Big Rivers Conference matchups, they play a little tournament, and we head to regions and sections, these teams are not in the same region. So Hudson is in the big school category of the Wisconsin Interathletic Association, the way they kind of have things broken down. So Hudson plays against the big schools. River Falls plays, I believe, against more of the middle-sized schools. And then even some of the Big Rivers Conference teams play in a third division, I believe. So these teams will not, outside of the Big Rivers Conference tournament where they may end up playing each other, they most likely, that will be the end of the chances of them playing each other this year. With the way scheduling works, these teams play each other once, typically during the season. So, but we'll see what happens with the Big Rivers Conference matchups. Those will come out probably after the matches early in October. So Raiders play October 2nd. Probably that's Thursday, so probably Thursday night or Friday, October 3rd. They'll probably have those matchups set. This win, or potential win tonight over River Falls, and they're putting the Raiders at a record of potentially 8-0-1. They did follow that up with their game against New Richmond at 9-0-1, and I believe they beat Rice Lake. So the Raiders are sitting at 10-0-1, 0 losses or ties in the conference. I don't think there's any other team in the conference that can catch them. Even though there's one game left against Eau Claire North. So I think the Raiders are solidly, record-wise, going to be top in the conference, but they have to win the Big Rivers Conference tournament, I believe, to claim the official conference champion title. The usual suspects that challenged Hudson for the conference, River Falls is usually one of them. I think they're just having an off year this year. That happens sometimes. Recently, New Richmond's been a challenge, but again, not so much this year. And then it's Eau Claire Memorial and Hudson. They're usually the ones battling it out, but the Raiders playing at Eau Claire Memorial really took it to them and defeated them a couple weeks ago by a score of 4-0. So those games are usually white knuckle, closely contested matchups, but the Raiders scored 4 goals in the second half on the road, which really bodes well again for how this team is playing and, what we can hopefully expect to them in the postseason. So you never know what'll happen, but, they've had just a stellar conference season, and it's just been fun to be a part of it. All right, we are at the 65-minute mark. Raiders continue to lead 6-0. River Falls gets a free kick in a good spot where they can potentially get that ball where they want to try to do some damage here. All right, free kick coming. Number 2 of the Wildcats sends a really nice ball, kind of right into the area, but not much. I think they're so worried about the Raiders counter scoring that they didn't send a lot in to try to make something happen there. So, but a nice kick nonetheless, and the Raiders back on the attack. Ball sneaks through. Goalkeeper's out. There's a little scrum. No one knows where the ball is, and it sneaks all the way around. Goalkeeper makes a block, keeps ping balling around, eventually gets out. Raiders still in possession, though. Lassard on it. He's going to carry it up a bit, try to set his teammates up a little bit. Puts a nice ball in. Just gets away from Cohen Miller on the left striker side, and that's going to be a throw-in for the Wildcats. Pushing into the 67-minute mark, leaving about 13 minutes left in this match. All right, Diego Vega on it. Sends a big high looping ball in, a little too deep to do anything with, and River Falls goalkeeper manages to catch that ball purely and hold on to it. He's going to send it up the field. This is the time where the Raiders could get a little loosey-goosey, about 12, 13 minutes left. Coach Solom has Poole, Vega, and Lassard back on defense, though, to try to hold that. Not that the starting D doesn't play well, they do. But giving these guys a little bit of experience at some other positions, which is great for when they potentially move on to play soccer after high school, like Jack Poole is going to be a graduating senior. And who knows what Coach Solom will do with the lineup next year with Lassard coming back. Kind of depends on who you have all around on your team. A lot of coaches believe in having their strongest players as their center defense or one of their defenders. I always say having a strong defense is important because if you can hold the other team to not scoring, you will not lose many games. You'll either tie or win. So I always believe in having the strongest defense possible. Here we go. Again, a little shoe tying for River Falls goalkeeper, and clock is ticking. We're moving into the 69-minute mark. Raiders continue to lead 6-0 over the Wildcats. All right, back to the action. We're ready to roll. Shoes are tied. The laces are tight. Goalkeeper's lining up here to take the kick. Plays it long and flat, but intercepted by the Raiders there. Deflected out by River Falls, and it'll be a Raiders throw. That's number 4, Sullivan Kelly, or Sully, as a lot of the boys call him. Ball comes back all the way to Poole. Ball comes in to Pau Rabeus, who's now playing in the midfield. And the ball gets out, and it'll be a Wildcats throw-in. Getting very close to the 10-minute mark. 10 minutes left in the match, that is. Some substitutions coming here. Henry Newman in the game. Cohen Miller in the game there. Looks like Teddy Anderson up on the offensive end. Trying to see the numbers of some of these guys. Xavier Island there. And the Wildcats pushing it up the field. Gets out of bounds. We have a couple more subs coming in for the Raiders. Looks like Parker Strumke back in the match. And Sam Olsen. Referee blows the whistle. I think the Raiders maybe rushed something. Maybe it was a River Falls throw. Raiders somehow finagled to almost get away with it, but the referee was all over it, and River Falls will now take that throw in. We're down to about 9 minutes left in the match. Again, if you're watching this match, today I'm recording it on September 30th, which is Tuesday. The Raiders' next matchup is October 2nd, so 2 days from now on Thursday, October 2nd at 7 p.m. Home game against Eau Claire North. So if you're a Raiders fan, looks like we're going to have beautiful weather this week. Come on out and see the Raiders live and in action. And if that's not possible based on, whatever you're doing or wherever you live, then tune into the broadcast and we'll be bringing this match to you live this time with I'll be there announcing live, and should be a fun matchup. Eau Claire North is kind of had some struggling seasons over the last 4, 5, 6 years, and appears from looking at their record, they're definitely a more competitive team this year. So this could be a good matchup for giving the Raiders some challenge at the end of the season. All right, big boot by River Falls. Rebeus with the head over, then he controls it, tries to carry it up, too much defense. Raiders somehow sneak the ball around. There's defense everywhere. I think River Falls is maybe just resigning themselves to try to stop any more scores. Sullivan Kelly with the boot. Sends a nice through ball through. Island had a shot. It's not the easiest angle there to put the shot on goal, but he had the attempt and he rushed it because he sailed that ball over the goal. I know he's disappointed. He had the space to be a little bit more patient, and but you don't always know that. It kind of depends if your teammates are communicating. There's the adrenaline rush of suddenly being wide open with the ball, with the goal kind of in front of you, and a lot of things can contribute to that. So you see professionals do the same thing. So, but he's going to want that back, and maybe he'll get it tonight. All right, big throw in here for the Raiders. 7 minutes left in the match. River Falls doing their best to get it out of there. Raiders playing it out. That's Strumke with the ball out on the sideline. Does a little tippy tap. Nice little foot move by Strumke. Gets it back to Olsen. Sullivan Kelly with a nice cross in, but nicely played by River Falls goalkeeper. And that scoring attempt by the Raiders is quashed as River Falls tries to get the ball up to their strikers. Just not much action for their offense. They had a couple runs. There it is. That's number 6, Teddy Anderson. Ball sneaks through. He's able to control it really nicely. The ball sneaks through and gets on his feet. And again, not a lot a goalkeeper can do. That was quick. It just sort of got to his feet. He took a half a step. That ball just sat perfectly, and he buried it. So that puts the Raiders at 7-0 now at almost the 74-minute mark. And we're closing in on the end of this one, folks. As mentioned earlier, we certainly appreciate all of our viewers. It can be fun to go back and watch these replays of the players you love and like to watch. So hopefully you've enjoyed this matchup. And we'll see what happens here in the next 6 minutes or so. River Falls plays it back. Then they send it deep. Raiders trying to corral it defensively. Will Cook now back on defense for the Raiders. I think Jack Poole maybe came out.
Scoring for the Raiders, number 6, Teddy Anderson. Assist on the goal to number 21, Sam Olsen.
All right, so as called, Teddy Anderson with the score, and Sam Olsen, number 21, with the assist. So that is Teddy's first goal of the season, so that's exciting. And Sam Olsen, that was his first assist of the season. So two guys that play, but not everybody is a scorer. A lot of people, you contribute a lot of ways to the scores, but nice to see these guys get on the ledger sheet for points and things like that. So ball comes around. Wish I knew who that Raiders goalkeeper was, but just can't see any way of telling who that is tonight. So 5 minutes left in the match. Raiders now up 7-0 over the River Falls Wildcats. Quick turn by Will Cook. Sends it out wide. River Falls playing some good defense. Little bit of extra physicality there. I think that was Xavier Island of the Raiders gets a foul called, and River Falls will have a free kick here now at the 76-minute mark, or darn close to it. Again, I'd like to thank the River Channel crew. That would be Nikos Wiring, who's always at the stadium doing a lot of the technical work. Nate Skoog, who manages and coordinates and does a lot of technical work as well. So, it's a whole team behind these broadcasts. We're not maybe CBS level of number of people and cameras, but still takes a crew to bring these things to you. So hopefully everyone has enjoyed this matchup, and it's been fun game to call. We're still down to about 3 minutes left, though, and River Falls still going to see if they can make something happen here. And the Raiders, of course, not giving up. Here comes Parker Strumke, the Raiders' everyday goalkeeper. I don't think he's had any time on the field. I've missed some away games. Maybe he has in some of those, but this is the first action I've seen Parker have out of the goal this season. You're going to see the Raiders are pushing it up because they'd love to see him make something happen with a score of some sort. It's every goalkeeper's kind of fantasy is to get out there and score at some point or get an assist. So Strumke's there with it again in the corner. Nice little quick turn by Parker, and that ball just gets a little bit ahead of him. Crosses the end line, is going to be a goal kick at about the 2.5 minute mark left in the match. All right, Wildcats again trying to advance that ball. Raiders tough all over the field. They set it up. That's Olsen, and he takes a shot. Good, that's from about 20 yards out. That's a good distance, but again, probably hit it a little early. Maybe he didn't quite get his plant foot right, but sends that ball high over the goal. We're now down under 2 minutes left in the match. River Falls with the goal kick. Goes out of bounds. Will be a Raiders throw-in. These games take a lot from the home school as well. They coordinate getting referees and people to run the scoreboard and people to run the audio. And then they have volunteer youth soccer teams. Nice save by River Falls goalkeeper there, pulling that high ball right out of the air. Bringing in youth to collect balls around the field so that the game can keep moving. Athletic trainers need to be at the field to take care of kids who get injured. So just lots, people taking tickets. So a lot go into these matches, and it's all worth it, of course. But it's great to see these kids out enjoying sports and teams and all that good stuff. So we are now under a minute. Again, thank you for tuning into this River Channel broadcast. I look forward to bringing you the game in a couple days, and we'll let this one just play out, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your night or day or whenever you are watching this. And if Hudson Raider players are watching, which you probably will, Good job, guys. Keep it up, and let's see what happens here at the end of the season. Little head over. Good try there for the Raiders. Trying to put something on. They don't give up. Even with 15 seconds left, but there's a high kick out of bounds by River Falls. That's the end of the match, folks. Again, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening, and we'll see you back soon.